Hey, Todd Falcone, how are you doing?
Good, Jim. How you doing?
I am thrilled to death to be speaking with you today, making this video. And before I ask you my first question, I would like to kind of explain why I asked you to make this video. Todd is a speaker. He's a trainer in the network marketing field. He's worked it pretty much all his life. I think around 30 years. He worked as a network marketer very successfully. In the last 10 or 12 years, he coaches network marketers. Fearlessnetworker.com. I follow his YouTube page. And I've been following him for years. I've heard about him, and I love watching your YouTubes. But last Friday, I was on a call with the CEO of a network marketing company that I'm involved in. And I was just so blown away. It just, the things you said weren't mind-boggling, but it just opened my eyes to what I was not doing. So that's why I called you and asked if you would mind doing just a short interview with me. But you are one of the gurus in network marketing. We all appreciate what you do.
I appreciate that. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, so today, and I kind of like to pre-qualify this too before you answer. You know this as well as anybody, but anybody who's ever been involved in network marketing know that there's this stigma, a whole lot. I don't know what the percentage is. I always say it's 70 or 80% of the population has this stigma about anybody in network marketing. And I speak with some history there because I was that guy all of my life until 12 years ago. And I'll explain why, and I'm sure you've heard it, but I'm going to ask you, to explain how we help people get over that and why there should be no stigma. But I'll explain just real briefly why I had that stigma. I'm 62 years old, and back in the 70s and the 80s, I had like 10 or 12, maybe 15 friends invite me to these meetings for different products. The products were around back then. And I was open to the idea, but what really turned me off, and I think it still happens today, I'm anxious to get your opinion, is when they got to the point that within 5 years, you'll be able to retire and never work again. And that came up a lot back then. And I know that shouldn't come up ever. But that's what turned me off, because I bet I went to 4 or 5 different companies, presentations, there are 10 or 12 meetings, like 3 or 4 of each one with different people. And it always seemed to be the same thing. And I thought, oh, these guys are full of crap. This is not going to happen. It's not happening to them. But anyway, what I found out since I got in, that it actually is happening. It's kind of like going in a Fortune 500 company. A small percentage of the people are going to move up to the top and be CEOs and executive managers, but only a small percentage. And it's the same way in network marketing. But I'm anxious to get your take. Why do you think we have such a stigma, no matter what the company that we're involved in, and how would you help those of us in that get people over that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I've spoken now in 30 countries around the world to network marketers, and I'd say in easily 20 of those countries, while I'm on the stage and I'm doing a presentation, I'll say, I'm talking about, people's perception of network marketing. And I'll say MLM has a blank attached to it. And without fail, in every country, there's always some people in the room that are going to say, that'll come up with the exact word stigma. And they do this funny thing on stage. I'll be like, when I hear stigma, I mean, that's not a nice word. When I think about stigma, I like visualize this big, and I always say this, I'll preface this too. Like, okay, I'm going to get gross for a second. So that when I hear stigma, I visualize this big seeping, pussy, infected giant growth on your face. So wait a minute, you're telling me the profession that I'm in, that I spent 30 years in, that you're all in, is a big fat seeping pussy wart? That doesn't make me happy, and I don't think it makes any of you happy. So question is, how do we change it, and why does that exist? And I have my pretty strong opinions as to why people have a feeling about network marketing. Sometimes people are down on the things that they're not up on. So they poo-poo something that they don't even know anything about. Like, quick story. I had this woman that I interviewed who so I did this series where I interviewed very, very successful women in network marketing. And this lady, when I was talking to her, she's like, very successful real estate investor, many years. And she had never done network marketing, had never been approached by network marketing, had no friends that had ever done network marketing. But yet, when she heard the term network marketing, somehow somewhere in the past, network marketing bad, network marketing not good. So the parents of this family that her daughter was babysitting for invited her to a meeting. She's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not touching that. That's not my thing. And she had never looked at a company, never been, never, it was kind of funny. How is it possible somebody in real estate has never been approached by somebody? No, I'm not interested. They approached her again. No, I'm not interested. They didn't. The cool thing is, like, I'm glad that they didn't take no for an answer. Like, no means no forever. They approached her over a period of time, and finally they came back and they said, look, would you come and take a look at this? And she said, no. In fact, if you ask me again, my daughter's never going to babysit for you ever again. But she was kind of like her daughter and the kids. She's like, fine, I'll go. She basically kind of went under duress, and she said, I'll go one time. In fact, I think they said, just come to one meeting. If you don't like it, we'll never, ever say anything ever again. And she's like, fine. So she went to the meeting and she saw the presentation, and she, as I'm interviewing her, she's like, I'm literally kicking myself in my own ass while the presentation is going on. How could I have blown this off for so long without taking a look at it? Left the meeting, joined the company, built a business. At the time I talked to her, she had like 300,000 plus representatives in 23 countries, became very, very successful in network marketing. And this is a person that was, really against it, but it's weird because she was down on the thing that she wasn't up on, right? There's a few reasons. Like, I think to some extent people in network marketing are taught to be evasive. Like, what is it? You're talking to your friend, you're like, what is it? You're like, oh, I can't really tell you,
Yep.
And the reason, I think some people misunderstand that. And it's like, it's not that I can't tell you. It's like, we have tools and systems that do a great job of disseminating that information in a professional way so that you can get the whole story. Because honestly, if I'm going to sit here and try to, spew it out to you in 30 or 60 seconds, you're going to be confused, and I'm not going to do a great job of like really, sharing with you exactly what this is, which is really the reason why we don't spill all the beans on the phone in 30 seconds. Like, I know you got a background in real estate. You trying to sell a $2 million house over the telephone with me without me seeing the house. You can't do it. I mean, I got to be able to, at the very least, see pictures, and ideally go into the house, feel the energy of the house, walk through, feel the flow of the house. That's the presentation, is me being able to go through and sit on the couch in there and look and go, okay, well, I can see myself living here. Go look at the backyard or whatever people do when they go into houses. I mean, it'd be hard for you to sell a $1 million plus house without seeing it. So there's been a lot of people that, like this whole sneak attack thing really doesn't make me happy, where you say, hey, Jim, I'm having a party at my house. Come on over, bring a couple friends. And you didn't tell me that anything about there's going to be business, anything. All of a sudden a whiteboard comes out and you start drawing circles on the board and start doing a business pitch. That pisses people off, and it makes people very uncomfortable. And it's like, you lied to me. I had a guy in like the early 90s who knew I had a background in marketing, and my friend had referred him to me and said, hey, this guy needs somebody to do some marketing consulting for his company. And I talked to him on the phone. He said, yeah, I'm looking for somebody that's got marketing expertise. I need somebody to do some consulting for me, and I've got this project I'm working on. So I drove 45 miles to sit down with this guy at this coffee shop. And within 2 minutes, he's pitching me this company. I got up and I left the meeting. I said, you lied to me. I said, I don't appreciate it. I said, by the way, I'm full-time network marketer already, and you lied to me. This is exactly why people don't feel good about the profession. So I think the whole sneak attack approach is really, really bad. I think we need to be upfront with people. I think sometimes, like, there's so much money being made in network marketing that, like here's a mistake I made. This is also probably this is probably 1990, probably 92. I was sitting at a bar with my wife, having a martini, getting ready to, waiting for our table to be ready. And this woman was sitting next to us. And, I'm prospecting everybody everywhere I go, having a conversation with her, find out she's a manager for this company. And, I didn't say how much money do you make, but somehow I figured out that she's in the probably $60,000 to $70,000 a year range. And of course, my reply was, our top leader last month made over 60 grand. And then all of a sudden she just like blank faced on me, and my wife, like, she excused herself. I thought she was going to the restroom, and my wife looked at me and she goes, you're stupid. And I go, what? She's like, 60 grand a month to somebody who's making 60 grand a year is so far off the mark. And so even though somebody might be making 100 grand a month in your company or whatever the figure is, like, you're talking to somebody who's making 60 grand a year. I mean, the better approach would be, Jim, look, if I could show you a business where you could work from home and be able to make 80, 90, maybe 100 grand a year or more, is that something you'd be able to take a look at? If I go in there and start throwing around 100 grand a month, it's so far outside of the scope of their reality that they, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? That, by the way, I found out where that phrase came from. That came from the Better Business Bureau, some dude in the Better Business Bureau in 1955. I
Really?
researched it, so we have decades of skeptics as a result of that. But, and then I think another reason is when people go into a company, they get really enthusiastic and fired up about the company, but they haven't really made a commitment. And then they're there for a little bit, and then they're on to the next one, and this is the next greatest thing. And then they're on to the next one, and this is the next greatest thing. Or, you approached me a month ago, and I see you at the softball game. I'm like, hey, how's that business you were telling me about going? And you're like, well, I'm not really doing it anymore. So that, what seed does that plant to me? It's like you told me about this network marketing thing, and then I see you a month later. You were excited about it a month ago. Now you're not even in it. So I think people, the lack of commitment that people have, or them jumping from company to company to company and continuing to approach their friends and family, and they just haven't just planted their flag, causes people to have an ill feeling about it. And then you reference this whole idea of work for 4 years, work for 5 years, and then you're done. And I know that was promoted heavily. There can be really big money made in network marketing, but the truth is it takes work, just like anything else does.
Yep.
And it takes a commitment and planting your flag and working your tail off. And the beautiful thing about network marketing is that it does contain the mechanics of wealth, leverage, the ability to earn income on the efforts of other people, but it requires serious commitment. And I think I don't know if I mentioned this on this training I did for you guys, a week or so ago, but if people come, I've had team members coming to me in the past, oh, it's just not working for me. And I'm like, okay, my question always is, okay, well, how many people would you say that you've approached in the last 90 days or so about the product and the business? And they come back with, well, not enough. Well, wait a minute. So the business is not working for you, but you're telling me that you haven't done enough. So you're mad at the lack of results from the work that you never did. So what I find is that, generally speaking, people that do the work, they get results. If you don't do the work, you don't get the results.
And that's true not only in network marketing, but that's true if you work for a Fortune 500 company, a mid-sized company, or mom and pop. Because if you're not doing the work, especially if you're in sales, they're getting rid of you.
Oh, yeah.
The two things that you mentioned the most there were the sneak attack. And I hated that, because I won't mention the company, but it's the company that was the biggest in the 70s. And I went to a couple of those meetings, and I swore I'd never go again because of the whiteboard and the ridiculous projections of income. And that's why I would never go again. And I would bet you I had at least 5, maybe 6 or 7 friends do exactly what you said. Jim, I'm having a get together. Can you come over? Well, hell yeah, that's a buddy of mine. I'm going to come over. And then I sit down, there's 8 or 10 other people, and there's a whiteboard up there. And I would get so mad that, Todd, this is what I used to say. And I said this for 30 years. And I meant this. This is how strongly I was opposed to network marketing. I would tell people who would ask me to come to a meeting or even want to talk to me, I'd say, if Jesus Christ himself comes down and says, Jim, I want you to join a network marketing company, I would say, I'm sorry, Jesus, I cannot do that. And I mean that. I don't say that to be funny. That's how opposed to it I was. But what I love is what you shared with us, and I don't want to get into follow-up. I want this conversation to be all about stigma. But the presentation that you gave to our group last Friday, you said, hey, what you do is you send an email to somebody and say, hey, are you open to the idea of making another income, a side income? And if they say, yeah, then you say, hey, I'm going to send you a video. When can I get back with you? That's so much better than that surprise attack, or you have to come to this meeting. I love that. And then you follow up 3 times, and that's it. You don't hound them every day.
Yeah.
There's no point in it. But just briefly to give you and whoever listens to this video, what happened to me, because I did get over that. It was a company 12 years ago when somebody sent me a product, and I had no idea that it was network marketing, but I was so blown away by the product that I had to start using that product. And I started using it, and in my real estate career, I started using it, and by far and away, it was the best marketing that I had done in that time in a 15-year career in real estate. And I've been with Keller Williams and Remax, and nobody had what this product was. So it was phenomenal. And then I found out it was a network marketing company, like a week or two after I was using it. And I thought, geez, did I ever miss the boat here? Every realtor needs this. So I started sharing it, and I ended up writing a book. And, in this book, I share some of the products, that particular product, along with some of my other techniques. But my book became a best-selling book in the real estate field, which would never have happened if I kept that attitude that I'm not joining anything that's not. I joined because I didn't know. It's like you said, you don't know what you don't know. Thank God I didn't know that was network marketing, because if I did, I would never have joined. And it's changed my career. I wrote that book. That book was successful, and I started getting calls from realtors all around the country. And I thought, well, hell, I'm going to quit selling real estate and start coaching, which is like you coach network marketers. I coach real estate agents until my network marketing income is substantial enough. Then I'm going to quit coaching because I get network marketing now. And I'm going to share one other one that was life-changing. And I'm using this product, but I'm not in it as a distributor. My daughter is, Shakeology, Beachbody. She joined that a few years ago, and she goes, Dad, I want you to start buying my product. Well, anybody else, I would have said, sorry, probably not. But it's my daughter. So I started using that product, and I started making these shakes. Well, that product alone did not get me in great shape and cause me to lose 20 pounds. But because I started using that product, starting my morning out healthy, then I wouldn't eat the garbage that I ate for like 58 years prior to that. And I've lost 20 pounds, and now I walk, run at least 5 miles a day, and I do 16 or 20 every weekend. And those are just two examples how, in my first 50 years of life, that neither one of those would have ever happened. And now, eventually, pretty soon here, I'll be able to get out of real estate coaching because of network marketing. So I needed to talk to you, and I want to send this around to anybody who objects to it just because it's network marketing. And the other question I'd like to ask you is, with the crazy environment that we're living in these last 5 weeks, explain to the listeners why there is no better time to get in network marketing than in 2020.
Well, I think anybody who's sitting at home not making money realizes that they've got to have a plan B, right? Even smart, savvy business professionals who thought, man, this secure job that I've been at for 30 years can always be here. Even in a time where, I think job security is kind of it's not like it was like 30, 40 years ago, right? Like somebody would work for a company for their whole life and then retire. The world certainly changed from that perspective, but I think the world is waking up, realizing, oh my gosh, well, I'm sitting at home. What am I going to do? And, I think, I've done a bunch of trainings over the last 3 or 4 weeks thinking about like this. In fact, there's this magazine that was sent to me by this company talking about the gig economy. And, the gig economy, a lot of people, when they think about the gig economy, they're referring to things like Uber and Lyft and Airbnb, a place where you can go, use your time and have a little side hustle, make some extra money. I haven't been in an Uber since this whole lockdown thing took place. So all the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers in my friend's house who I was supposed to be at, 3 or 4 weeks ago, that got canceled and our trip got canceled, and she's got 2 Airbnbs at her house and she's at like 98% cancellation there. So I think that, what's really the only true viable option for somebody that doesn't have some amazing, skill that they can monetize. Like, I make this joke. See those hands? Those are like little butter hands, right? Those are not rough hands. They're not handyman hands. My wife calls me the not so handyman. I have a handyman because, I'm not, hanging the new light downstairs. I can do some stuff, but if I was stuck at home, if I was handy, maybe I could go, hustle and do some handiwork or something, but I can't even do that. So for the average person who's sitting at home and they don't have some amazing skill in a particular area, the cool thing about network marketing is they can sign up with a product or service that turns them on, that makes sense for them. And there's a track for them already to run on. They don't have to create the product, invent the product, come up with the marketing or any of that. They can just come in, sign up and go. And network marketing costs very, very little to get up and running. And then the last thing I'll say, I think is really important to point out is anybody that's a W-2 employee and they do not have a business on the side. You just starting a business, like getting involved in a network marketing business as an independent distributor or affiliate or whatever it's called, depending on the company, that puts you in a different taxable situation where you have more deductions because you're a small business owner than being just a W-2 employee. So that in and of itself, and I'm not giving tax advice. You need to talk to your CPA and all of that. But, any smart CPA is going to say it makes really good business sense if you're a W-2 employee to have a side business, because there are certain expenses that you're going to incur in your life that, because you're now using them for this side business, become tax deductible, reducing your taxable income and essentially increasing your net take-home pay, regardless of how much you've profited yet from this new venture. Of course, you want to make this venture profitable, but that's something, even without generating a profit immediately, puts you into a better financial situation. But again, that's something you need to check with your CPA, and hopefully you've got a smart one. I met this one guy, and he's like, yeah, my CPA told me I was making too much money. I'm like, how much you making? He's like, I'm making like 80. I'm like, you need to fire your CPA now. Like, I can't get into another business because I'm making too much money. I'm like, 80 grand a year, fire your accountant and go find somebody else. That guy's stupid. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, but kind of to follow up on what you said, I sold real estate. I've been licensed for 27 years. 2.5 years ago, I quit selling, and now I coach. And my coaching business has been good until 5 weeks ago. And right now, the real estate market's dead. And most, the top realtors are still working. There's always money to be made. But most of them are just depressed and they're not working. So because of that, they're thinking, why should I pay a coach? So I've only picked up one new coaching client in the last 5 weeks, whereas normally I get quite a few every month, but one. And because of that, my income is down from coaching. But because I happen to be in this awesome network marketing company that happens to be also perfect for real estate, I make good income, really good income, which is sustaining me. Now, if I wasn't in that, I would never have written a best-selling book. I would never be a coach. And I wouldn't have made hardly any money this month. And that income is only going to grow. And the other thing, and just if you can address this real quickly, it's not just a matter of joining any network marketing company, but when you find a product that you really love, and it doesn't matter what it is, and that product really changes your life, it's kind of like sharing a restaurant. When you go to a great new restaurant, don't you tell your friends and your family about that restaurant? And that's the way I feel about this product that I'm sharing. I won't even mention the name, but it's perfect for real estate. And I'm doing real estate agents a huge favor when I share this product. That's a fact, because it changed my life. And I'm sure that's true of successful network marketers with probably every product or every service, don't you think?
Yeah, I think you find something that you can get behind, something that you enjoy, something that you can see yourself doing that gets you excited every day. I mean, the funny thing is people do network marketing every single day already. They do. They're like, oh my gosh, you got to, maybe not right now because we're not getting out so much, but hey, have you tried the whatever Mexican restaurant down the street? Or, oh, you got to try their whatever. And you're like, you end up sending me over there and I'm going to order what you told me that was so amazing, but they don't pay you for it. I mean, so people refer people to movies, and I mean, how many people have referred my family to Netflix series since we've been, oh, you got to watch this. We're watching, that's actually on Amazon, I think. We're watching Vikings. Oh, you got to watch Vikings. So I would have never even watched that show except for it was a referral from a friend the other day on a Zoom, actually. She's like, you got to watch Vikings. Well, that's essentially doing network marketing, but she's not getting paid for it. She referred me to something that she liked, that she enjoyed. I'm now, 4 or 5, episodes into this first season. And I would have never even watched it had it not been from a personal referral. But she's not, like the Vikings and, Metro Golden Mayer, whatever the production company is, they're not sending her a check. So people are already doing network marketing every day. Even the ones that don't like network marketing are like, I would never touch network marketing ever with a 10-foot pole. You, right?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Actually, some of those people end up being the very best network marketers. I know some very, very successful people that totally poo-pooed network marketing, but because they had such a favorable experience. In fact, let me just end with this. Another series I did like 12 years ago, I did this thing called the Dynamic Divas of Networking. I interviewed this woman, And like each one of these interviews, I did eight different interviews with very successful women in direct selling. I didn't know their backgrounds, or I knew that they were successful, but I didn't know their story. So I'm organically pulling these stories out. And I'm talking to this woman from the East Coast who had owned this executive office furniture company. And she's like, I would never touch network marketing. I was totally against it. I had friends that had done it. I was like, no, don't talk to me, blah, blah, blah. And I just like, she was like the executive of executives, right? Mm-hmm. And she had some major back problems, and a friend shared a product with her, and it was just a product introduction. She didn't even know there was a business around it. She started using the product. Oh my gosh, my back's feeling better. She's feeling healthy. She's like, how do I get more of this stuff? I've got people asking me about it. She's like, well, you go to this website and you can sign up and you can refer them over here. So she starts doing it, not even doing it. And she's like, I'm making like $4,000 a month from this thing, still swearing up and down that I'm never going to do network marketing. And then I was in my office one day, and I've got a friend of mine I talked to who's struggling. And I got all these other friends of mine that maybe make that, in their full-time jobs are not making $4,000 a month. And here I am, not even doing this thing, making $4,000 a month. She's like, what if I actually did it? And that's when she was like, I'm going to go do it. So she started doing it. And she also became very, very successful, ended up being, I don't know if she ever got to 7 figures annually, but she was definitely high 6-figure earner annually from that company. And that was yet another person that swore up and down she would never do it. But she found something that, product wise, that really turned her on and created such a big result. And that's why, she ultimately ended up coming in. So I can sit here, if we could do 3 hours of stories of people that I've met over the years who've come in from great product experiences. And because they had a great product experience, they were then more so open to the whole network marketing concept.
I so appreciate you taking this time, and I want to end with this, and then I'm going to ask you to let people know how they can get in touch with you. But, I followed Todd for a while, but after last week's call, a week ago today, Friday's call, I've listened to at least 1 or 2 of your YouTubes, and I've been on fearlessnetworking.com, and I'm just blown away. And I committed to you when I messaged you and asked if you would call me. The next event that Todd has, which we're all shut down now, but I don't care where it is. I don't care how much it costs. I'm going to be the first one to sign up. And it doesn't matter what product or what service you're in. You could even be in a conventional type business with a corporation. If you're in sales, you need to hear and listen to Todd Falcone. It's incredible stuff you got. I appreciate it. So let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, Todd.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the easiest thing to do is just myname.com. So it's TODDFALCONE.com, and you can plug in there. I pump out a new video every single week. You can grab my book for free. It's called Fearless Networking. You just pay shipping and handling. If you want to just get a taste from me, that's probably a good place to start. And you can find me on social media as well. You can figure that out. You can go just find Todd Falcone on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. But my website's probably the best place for you to get started if you want to scope me out a little bit.
Thanks so much, brother.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day.
You too.